Welcome back, everyone. I'm the Depressed Viewer, and this is Langrisser Mobile Apex Arena Season 5. So, I'm going to go ahead and talk about my box first, because I did make two changes. I went ahead and dropped Claret. Claret's been rather useful, but unfortunately, she's not getting the kills like she used to. She can't really kill Landius reliably anymore, especially if he gets a Thorns proc, which I hate. I think her damage is kind of dropping off because of the troops I'm using. If I switch over to, I think they're called Griffin Knights or something like that do actual plus attack, I think her damage would go up a little bit more. But I don't have those trained, and I don't really intend on working on training flyers that much anymore. So I've been actually focusing on assassins. Speaking of, I replaced Claret with Subame. Anyone that watched my summon video knows exactly probably why I switched over to Subame. One, it's something I don't see very often, and I do want to kind of practice more with other assassins besides Zerida. The only issue with Sabame is her damage is not quite there. Her attack is still a bit low. She's currently 5 stars. She'll be 6 stars the day after this video comes out. The 6 star is going to hopefully make a big difference. It'll buff up her stats that she desperately needs, and it'll buff up her buff aura to 3. So every enemy that's within 3 instead of 2 would give her like an additional 8% attack in skill, which stacks up to 24%, I think. That will be pretty significant because the times I've used Sabame in Apex so far, she's always come just short of getting her assassination kill. I was like 100 damage short on a D-Lit. If I had her faction buffed or I had the 6 star, that would have definitely got the kill. And I almost killed an Illustrial. I was about 1,000 damage short. One thing to note about her 3-cost skill is if you do it in melee using like the Extreme Magic Bow, her attack goes off first before her troops does, and that does actually harm your damage output quite a bit. So that's something I need to be aware of. I did max out Assassin attack, or Assassin and Archer attacks training, so that's pretty much maxed out. The only thing I can still work on as far as Assassin troops are concerned is there's a one that buffs up damage based off attacking something that's at full hit points, which can kind of counteract things like Last Rites. So I'll probably actually work on that next because I do want to make Sabame an actual threat. So like I said, it's a new character, so I'm definitely getting used to her. I did drop TRS. TRS, I really like TRS's kit, but her passive, her unique talent essentially only works against single target attacks that don't kill you. So it's not good against tank busters, and it's not good against AoE, which the meta is AoE. And my box's biggest issue wasn't really healers, it was the fact I didn't have much for cleansing debuffs in general. I mean, I had some area heals and stuff, that doesn't do much overall. Against things like Bozil's, like 4 debuffs at a time he can put up on you, and same thing for Rian. So I went ahead and brought back Liana. A long time ago, I did get some questions about why I didn't use Liana. It's mainly because she's the top tier healer, and I wanted to try something different where I'm not constantly relying on the top, meta characters. But at this point, I definitely need Liana. I need her cleansing ability. I need her passive heals. Her act against just a nice bonus. Her summon that can provide even more cleansing is also very useful. Also, she has access to Gossipal, which gives me another little bit more flexibility as far as my choices are when I'm doing band pick. So that's kind of the gist of it here. Give me 1 second. Okay, so I just wanted to confirm some terms because I always forget them. So our opponent has a standard 2-tank setup, 4 healers. This time he's actually using Weiler as one of his healers. The box is definitely very heavy in Mythical Realm, which is the faction I always forget the name of, but that's essentially what Gizarov and Sage of Yggdrasil, also known as Old Lanius, can buff. So it's definitely very heavy on that aspect. I'm not sure if Rian falls under that faction or not, but he doesn't really need faction buffs. Other than that, few assassins, and that's about it. But yeah, like everything up here, yeah, that's all. This is all like mythical. Yeah, it's definitely a mythical box, which is cool because I don't see that too often. I see it pretty often in Chinese servers, but not gold tier here. Anyway, they banned my Zerida first. I banned their juggler first because it's juggler. Landius gets picked. I went ahead and banned Ares and Rian because they're just they're just not something I like dealing with. Of course, took my tank. They actually went straight for Illustrial and Sherlinka. I was kind of shocked about the Illustrial pick, because in this map, which I despise, I hate this. This map should not exist. Floating Courtyard should just go in the garbage. It's a terrible map. But Illustrial doesn't actually do well in this map because there's not any terrain besides a couple of tiles of grasslands in the middle. But anyway, they banned my assassins. Speaking of assassins, I just talked a bunch about assassins. Sherlinka is a really good assassin because her attack stat is just super high, and she actually has some pretty strong troop choices. I am working on infantry troops to kind of give her more options besides the skeleton knights, because I'm using skeleton warriors or whatever they're called, mainly because I just have nearly everything maxed out as far as the holy demon and mage training is concerned. So I'm hoping to get more options and maximize her damage output. But doesn't matter because I got banned anyway. They went straight for Zerda. I'm not surprised. I went ahead and banned their Act again, and I definitely banned their Yusuke. I was kind of banning Leona both to get rid of the Act again, but also to kind of possibly force a healer pick. Went ahead and took Angelina. I did a few matches where I didn't pick Angelina, and I have to use Angelina, unfortunately. They banned some of my faction buffers and AoE. They picked Weiler, so I was like, okay, I can deal with that. Went ahead and banned Listel and Sage of Yggdrasil, or whatever it's called. I'm just going to call him Old Lanius. Old Lanius is definitely a hard counter against any high mobility, such as flyers and cavalry, so getting rid of him is nice. Also, he can self-res, and it's just annoying. So I went ahead and grabbed Leona since I needed a buff for Angelina here. Let's see. They banned the rest of my faction buffers, it looks like, as well as Estelle. At this point, I was specifically banning things that were bruiser or tanky-like, or just physical. That way I can force them to pick more mages. That way I can more reliably kill with Angelina. Angelina is very good at killing mages and some squishies, but if you don't, if you try to go after anything else that's bigger or tankier, you're going at your own risk. So I went ahead and banned the things that are definitely reasonably tanky. I was a little concerned about Gizerov because his summon can be a bit of a pain. I went and took Rosalia for extra mobility. And also, I figure Rosalia has a good chance of being able to stand up to Landius. And then I was kind of torn between what I wanted to pick. Sophia would have given me some very consistent buffs and possible rewinds and things like that. And Tsubame is I just want to practice with her more. So I went ahead and picked Tsubame, and they went with Gizerov. So it's just a lot of mages. Really, the only things that are physical is an assassin and Landius. Alright, it's actually been a while since I've actually recorded a match because my previous weeks have been there's not really been much to record. In fact, this week I didn't really have much to record either, so I went ahead and actually did extra matches this week just so I could have something to show off to you guys. So yeah, Weiler, I mean, at this point anyone that's watching this knows what Weiler does, but for those who don't, his support ranges have additional range, so you can actually kind of heal and cast from a distance, which is very helpful. His soldiers have increased stats, not that it really matters. And then whenever... yeah, it says when a hero dies, but I'm pretty sure it's just when he dies. But yeah, when he dies, he'll put a Desperate Prayer up. His 3-cost skills, essentially, he reduces himself to 1% HP and essentially does the Tactical Genius proc without killing himself. So, pretty good stuff. His regroup is a really powerful heal, and it can give extra actions to anyone that has no soldiers left. Oddly enough, Zerda is not built for that. It would have been an act again for Zerda if she happened to have Bloodthirster, but for some reason, this Zerda is just a high-range Zerda, essentially. Also, I could have swore she had 3 range. Anyway, then we have Gizerov, standard summoner faction buff. Landius, standard kit, and then of course Bozel here is all debuffs and sleeps and AoE. Here's Tsubame, for those who didn't see the video. Right now she gets a buff for every enemy within 2 blocks. 6% attack and skill, maxes at 3, so it'll be 18% right now. So yeah, getting this extra star will essentially give her another potential 6%, another 6% attack, which is really useful. Also, more skill means more crit. Everything else is if she's not near enemies, she can hide herself. The hide makes it so she can't be targeted directly, but if you get next to her or do damage through other means like AoEs, they'll break it. For the most part, I haven't really taken advantage of it yet. It's still new to me. Quick Step lets her buff up her skill and move extra spaces. Instant Flash, if she has nearly full HP and has higher skill, she strikes first, which is really cool. And then her 3-cost skill is essentially just an Assassinate that has high crit. And if she kills, she'll actually move afterwards. And usually, if you do damage, you can't do the Silent Wing hide, but Killing Machine bypasses that as long as you're away from the opponent after getting the kill. You'll actually hide even though you did damage. Everything else is standard. Yeah, all its standard kit. Leona, I guess, is a bit new. She uses Shrine Maidens for tankiness, and then she has Gospel Heal and Act Again. I don't really need AoE heals in this one. So, yeah, for some reason I thought she had 3 range because I got confused with this spot here. But yeah, this is as far as she goes. I went ahead and moved to Tsubame first because it's actually really safe to move with her first because she doesn't really get targeted. The only issue I have with the setup I have right now is I have my Gospel buff is split between both Angelina and Tsubame right now. And then Rosalia can buff herself. So I don't really have much as far as origins. So Landius moves up. I went ahead and moved all the way up with Freya, which is of course going to attract the Bozil. Bozil is actually in AoE range right now. And I moved up with Rosalia. I moved specifically here because I can move 5 spaces and then go I can go 5 spaces to here, which puts me within 2 rings of Landius here. I can put down a sword, go another 3, and then I can Chivalry and get to here. So I can actually attack this Zerida here. Also, this Zerida has monster troops, or demon troops, which Rosalia is holy, so she even gets more damage from that. So I was kind of expecting this construct to block, because if it moved up, I wouldn't be able to do anything about it. I would have to essentially just go and kill the construct instead and just bite the bullet. But it actually ended turn in play, so I went and moved up and did Act Again, because my plan, of course, was to assassinate the Zerida. And then High Stakes procced. So High Stakes not only it does a variety of things. One is at the start of every combat, they heal for a ton of HP. And then they also actually get damage reduction and increased damage dealt, which I always forget about, and that's actually going to bite me in a second. So put down Sword of Protection here, just to kind of buff anyone else that happens to go by. Move up, do Chivalry. It's an Act Again, so I can actually do it within Landius' aura. Moved in with Ultimate Judgment. And I actually did not get the kill. So she probably had Last Rites, which I think reduces damage by like 50%. And then she had reduced damage taken by another 15% from here. And then she has also got Hide and Seek, which also reduces damage taken by 30%. So actually all of that combined makes her reasonably durable. I'm so used to dealing with Bloodthirsters, because Bloodthirster of course counteracts things like Last Rites and all that, so I wasn't able to actually get the kill here, which actually terrified me, because like my previous matches, it's been a bunch of failed assassination attempts with Tsubame, and failing with Rosalia just twists the knife even further. So I went ahead and stopped in place, and I went ahead and moved Angelina into position. So he tried to guard, because if we he was originally down here. My Angelina can move 5 and then move another 2, so I can easily get to here and hit 4 targets here. Now I can hit 5. If the AoE can kill Zerida, that would be great, but Angelina is not faction buffed right now, so it is what it is. Weiler still hasn't recovered from using High Stakes, so any damage I do to him, any AoE damage I do to him, it's going to kill him and reapply the Tactical Genius, which it doesn't stack, so it just kind of gets wasted. Oh. So Tidal Surge, move into position. So Boiler's dead. It's going to remove all debuffs, but there's no debuffs. And I actually got freezed on Zerda. Not that it matters, because I'm going to kill with just the raw fixed damage from the Ragnarok. And then, for some reason, he attacked with the pet first, which the pet was going to not stand a chance against Rosalia, who was nearly at full health. Options he could have done instead was he could have slept. Actually, no, sorry, he can't really sleep. It's not reliable because of Chivalry. So he could have opened with Geyserov attacking, which I think would give a buff to his pet, and then his pet can follow up. The big issue is Geyserov is all demons, and Rosalia is Holy, and Holy just heavily counters demon. So full hit point Geyserov. And Geyserov doesn't actually have any single target attacks. All he has is summons. His 3-cost ability revolves around sacrificing his summon to make a better summon, and he threw his summon away, so that's what happened. He also could have just used his... He honestly could have just did his 3-cost skill, replace his summon. The replacement of the summon would actually do AoE damage, so that would have softened up Rosalia, and the 3-cost summon could have probably had a good chance of killing Rosalia in a one-on-one fight. And then from there, they could have slept Angelina, and then I would be stuck with essentially just Tsubame, whose performance lately has not been great. So yeah, interesting little match. Like I said, the past few matches, like I've won matches, but those matches usually ended up just me killing a unit using Angelina, and then they give up. And a lot of my losses have been I run up and fail an assassination, and then I get screwed, or I rush in too quickly and I get swarmed, and I just don't get anything accomplished. So it's going to be a learning process one way or the other. My win percentage is going to float around 47% probably, but that's okay. So yeah, I'll go ahead and just take an opportunity to go ahead and show off some of the assassin training. Like I said, I maxed out all the attacks, so all that's maxed out now. My Shinobis, unfortunately, are not built up, so I've been sticking with bandits. Also, I always assume my opponent has immunity to fixed damage, because that's usually just a safer bet. But if they are not immune to fixed damage, Shinobi's fixed damage is just insane. And then the thing I probably will start working on is killing breath, which makes it so you do extra damage against things with full health. I think it caps out at like 30% damage, which is still not too shabby. And like I mentioned before, my holy troops are... I'm actually working on their defense now, just simply because I want to be as tanky as possible, especially when I start using mages again. Or more mages again. And then I have heavy... Is that heavy infantry I'm using? Yeah, Sharlinka can use heavy infantry, which are actually really good attacking-wise because they get bonus to attack. They also get increased defense when defending. Unfortunately, can she also use these? No, she can't. Okay. Problem is I haven't really been doing any infantry training because for the longest time I didn't ever have infantry troops that are worth taking, or infantry heroes. So I'm going to be gradually working on getting their attack up. Once their attack is up, I may consider using them instead of skeleton knights here. Oh yeah, they're called skeleton knights, not warriors. Warriors are the lower tier. The only problem with skeleton knights is while they have good stats because they're demons, they don't actually have anything that passively increases their attack. They're just reasonably tanky against anything that's not holy. And yeah, pretty much that's it. I've been kind of also working on Lancer training. At this point, all defensive training has been taken care of, besides the fancy special abilities. So that's kind of going here. I've been working on enchants, and unfortunately enchants have been abysmal. I did recently get a necklace that gives plus to all stats and plus crit, which I'm using on Tsubame, but I still need to enchant it better. And the only other thing to point out is the Endless Voyage, which has, it's like a roguelike game, a roguelike version of the game, which is really kind of cool. It has a lot of unique mechanics. The ability to, like, you know, have skills on, have talents and skills that are not usually on those characters. Like, for example, Sophia here has an Aurora Ring. You know, this Iris has Sprint and Aurora Ring, and then of course, you know, I got Reen here with Noelle's 3-cost ability, and then I made Yulia into an AoE caster just because. It's got a lot of unique stuff that's really cool, and I do like this tactics mechanic. I kind of wish it was in the main game, but I also know that would completely break the balance. So it is what it is, unfortunately. The rewards for this are pretty good. A lot of people are wishing that this was like a permanent thing that would happen like every month or every week or something. But so far, there's no word of that ever happening in the Chinese server. So we're just gonna have this for a month. But yeah, other than that, just gonna be trucking on. Like I said, the day after the video comes up, Tsubame will be 6 stars. I am working on. I'm also getting. In a couple of weeks, I'll have Arian Rod up to 6 stars, though I'm not sure if I'll be able to use her anytime soon. Rosalia is not 6 stars yet, so I'm still working on her, and I'm gradually working on Florentia, who's almost going to hit 4 stars. I may do some summons in hopes that I get some Florentias to kind of speed that along, but I'm not in too much of a rush. I'm very interested in possibly using Helena, but like I said, as you can see, she's only 3 stars, and it's going to be a while before I'll be able to upgrade her. I still have to finish up upgrading Akka as well. There's just so many characters, unfortunately. And I'm going to get 2 more once Overlord comes out, so look forward to that, I guess. Anyway, I am The Depressed Viewer. This was Langrisser Mobile, Apex, and Rambling and other stuff. See you guys next time.